Hey guys, in this video we're talking about preparing for the baby financially. If you're expecting or planning to have one, this video we're going into it. I'm going to have 5 different sections and we're going to be talking about like newborn essentials because you need a lot of planning and a lot of money involved. This format is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to just try no edits. Should have a little bit more human interaction because I feel like people are kind of longing for that these days. So let's just get started with number 1. So how to prepare for a baby, definitely with a registry. Organize a registry. My wife has definitely helped us with that. So we have around 2.5-year-old son, and we're going to have a daughter in just a couple months. So when you have an organized registry, you're able to do a couple things with that. One, you don't have to worry about, what, as time goes on, you don't have to worry about, like, oh, what else do we need? When you already have a list, you just look at the list and that's it. Now, if it's your first kid, then obviously it's a bit tricky. You might be missing a couple things, but, as things come up, kind of just add it to the registry, and it would just help you a lot. What also this helps you do is it helps you budget. So when you're just creating a budget, like, hey, how much should we be saving? You're normally like, I have no idea. Well, when you look at the registry, it will give you an idea of like what to actually save for. Obviously, that doesn't include like doctors or hospitals, like that type of cost. But it'll give you at least a ballpark of what to aim for. On the side, I'm actually tracking this time that we're having a child of how much it's costing us. So by the end of the year, I might have a video like how much it takes to have how much it costs to have a baby in 2025. So that should be interesting. So you got organization, the registry, the budget, but also saving money. When you have stuff in the registry, you can kind of monitor things over time. So if something goes on sale, you kind of buy it. If you're kind of waiting toward the end, you're kind of just buying it out of convenience because you need it. And also through the Amazon registry, when you have like a couple months left in the pregnancy, they also give you 15% discount. So we just hit that, so we're starting to save money. So a couple of reasons why registries are great. Number 2, preparing for baby is budget for the baby's money. So every single month we sat down, looked at our income, our expenses, and how much we're able to save per month for the baby. And like we discussed in step 1 of like, well, what are you even saving for? That's kind of, you got per month, and that at the very end, like the total. So that has definitely helped us a lot. So at the very end, it's not like you have to owe $2,000 and you don't have any of it. When you're putting money away each month, it helps you. We were looking at numbers last night and it has helped us a lot. So moving right along to number 3, know your big purchases. This sucks. We actually just went through one with a stroller, but like cribs or like hospital. It stinks, but you need to know it, and you can incorporate that into the budget that you need to kind of save for. Something to keep a ballpark. Everyone's insurance is different, and we'll talk about that in a few steps. But I remember the last time we had a child in 2023. The cost was around high-end $1,500 just for the hospital visit. Could be different for everyone, and that doesn't include like all the doctor's visits leading up to that. So just to get an idea. So yeah, know your big purchases, budget for them, save for them, but also be aware if you want to look into credit cards. Certain credit cards might give cash bonuses, like if you spend $2,000 or $3,000 in the first like 3 months, you might get $100-$300. Obviously, make sure you pay it off so you don't have to pay ridiculous high interest rates. but getting a credit card bonus can help you a bit. We actually just did that with an Amazon card, and we just got like $250 in a gift card. So that helped us out a good amount. Moving right along, number 4, setting up the baby's room. This is important for a couple of reasons. One, you're gonna have a million things on your mind. This isn't another thing to add. Like, I would say do this as soon as you can. Don't wait till later on, because there are other things to do, as well as just taking care of yourselves. But when you're waiting, if you wait later on, then you're kind of like, you're just getting it to get stuff. You don't, there's no convenience to it. You know, you gotta get it, so you buy it. There's no way to really save money there. Which kind of leads us to number 5, which is compare prices to save. So like along the way, obviously, you could look at different websites, but you could look at Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, see if you could save money that way. Kind of good thing with baby items. Now, we were kind of picky, you know, we're not going to buy maybe like used binkies or something, you know, that's a little weird. But sometimes babies either use something once or twice or never, and then that's it. And then people just sell them just to get rid of them, so you could save some money. Like on some furniture, we were looking at like a dresser, and it was going to be like $150, $200 or something like that. We found a cooler one actually on Marketplace for $50. So we saved a good amount. And when you're setting up your baby's room earlier rather than later, you could kind of, you know, save along the way that way. Let's see, number 6. Be prepared to pay up for convenience. And I hate this, it sucks, but some things, like we mentioned with strollers or something like that, it might be a little bit more pricey, but like, let's say if it lasts longer, kind of grows with your child, or if it's more convenient, like we have this baby seat in the car, it tilts so you could put them in easier. We paid up for it, it stinks, but it just makes sense for longer term. Same idea with like, because they get heavier as they get older. So I didn't want to be struggling to get him in, then I pulled mine back, then you got chiropractor costs, and you're out for like a month. I'm not dealing with that. Sometimes you gotta pay up. So everyone's different, but just to be aware of that. Number 7, don't overbuy. This is something we did, and I think a lot of people do, and will probably always do. But you don't need like 100 clothes, you know. Obviously, there's different age ranges. There's like 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, whatever. And maybe having like a 2-week supply of clothes per each age range could be sufficient, because then you just rewash it and you reuse it, and there you go. You know, you don't need 100 0 to 3s and then 100, 3 to 6s. You know, you do want to be prepared, and that's why people do it. So we'll probably always overbuy, but just get that in your mind of like, try to limit it. Sorry if it's kind of auto-focusing, that kind of gets annoying. Number, what are we on? 8. Sell old stuff. In a couple ways. Your old stuff that you're not using anymore, so you could get extra money to help pay for baby stuff. But it also clears out some space. So we got more stuff for baby stuff. More space for baby stuff. And if this isn't your first child, you could also look to see if you can sell your first child or second child, your prior child's stuff, if you're not going to use it. Like we're going to be having a daughter, so we ended up selling a lot of boy stuff. A lot of it we're able to, could be used for either gender, so we just saved a lot of it. But a lot of the blatantly obviously boy stuff we ended up selling, and we made over $200 in clothes. Definitely suggest seriously just going through attics, basements, closets, everywhere, and it could help you out. And throw it on either Facebook Marketplace, eBay. You'd be surprised what people buy. And even if it's only like $5, you know, a bunch of items that you sold for $5 adds up. So, let's see. Number 9, understand your insurance as much as you can, because no one really understands insurance. But like, understand what you're paying per month. Understand what's covered, your deductibles. Look at your plan, and see what's the best for you. Everyone could be different. On my end, I ended up getting kind of like the better plan, so it covers a little bit more, better deductible, because I knew a lot of medical stuff was coming up, clearly. And then for next year, once, you know, we're kind of winding down from this, I'm looking to then switch to maybe like a lower plan to save money per month. So definitely look into that. You could also look into HSA accounts. They're health savings accounts. If you're aware, they're similar to 401ks with retirement. So like if you work for a job and you get money taken out of your pay before tax, and then it goes into like 401k for retirement, similar to an HSA, it goes into that account. So like if you know you're going to be paying money for medical reasons, it's not taxed. So you could save a little bit of money that way. And it also might help you tax-wise, because it might decrease your taxable income. So something to look into. It might be dependent on the certain like insurance plan that you choose. So, but something to look into. And I'd also throw out, don't rush to pay your medical bills. And I hate to bring this up. This is coming from someone, I have a credit score over 800. So I'm always paying my stuff on time. Never pay interest. But I remember when we got the bill from the hospital, I'm like, yo, I don't want to pay this. I got other problems going on. You're not getting the money yet. So I eventually get, you know, you keep getting the bill. I'm not seeing any impact in my credit score. No late fees, no interest payments, nothing. It's just like, hey, you still owed this amount. So I kind of delayed it a bit. It eventually went to collections. And at that point, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll start giving you some money. But I throw that out there just to, like, obviously you always got to pay the money that you owe back. But, you know, you don't have to pay it like that day. You know, if you're struggling to make ends meet, you know, you could kind of push it down the road a little bit. You eventually got to pay it. But, you know, just to have that, like, ease of mind, you know, a fallback plan, something to keep aware of. And then number 10, we're talking about understanding your feeding options. Now, I'm not going into like which is better, which is, you know, it's really whatever works for you, whether you're breastfeeding, whether you're formula feeding, but just being aware of that situation, whether you need pumps, whether you need, obviously you'll always need bottles, but formula is expensive. So just be aware, whatever path you're going down, kind of prepare that way, because it is costly, unfortunately. So something to plan for. And what we did, just to throw out there, I guess, is I didn't do anything. My wife, she breastfed. That saved a lot of money for not getting formula, because formula is nuts, cost-wise. But, you know, sometimes you don't have the supply, so you need to do formula. So whatever works for you. But I would say, to coming to the end, we'll close this off with a bonus. I'd say to start with not only an emergency fund, because there's going to be money thrown around all over the place with doctors, and what you didn't realize you ever needed, you do need. So having that emergency fund is good. But also start a college fund. I started a college fund when my son was maybe a couple months old. And, you know, I told a couple people about it, and they're like, a little early to start college, don't you think? And I'm like, you don't know how to build wealth. You know, that's literally the exact point that you need to start, because you have time on your side, and you utilize compound interest. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Just start with, a little, whatever works for you, and keep putting it in every single month, never stop. And then eventually grows. Heck, if they don't decide to go to college, I believe you could also roll it over into a Roth IRA for your kid. So, and you have to look at the state that you're in. Some states offer some benefits if you live there. Otherwise, you could just choose any state that you like and just try to minimize the fees that you buy, or like try to get low expense ratios and stuff like that. So I think I tried to kind of push through this list fairly quick because I didn't want to dwell on too much. So hopefully this helps you guys. Of course, there's probably like 100 other things to add to this list, so if anything comes to your mind that helped you out, you can leave it in the comments. And if you want to be that backbone or that foundation for your family or your upcoming family that you're planning for, that's what I'm trying to do. So if you're looking to do the same, I hope you consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see ya in the next one. Good luck on the new kid.